It's good to see all of you enthusiasts of the World Doll Day programs put on by the Grovian Doll Museum. And you must be so bored looking at my face and hearing my nattering on and on, but I think I have a really special doll to share with you today. And she is one of the famous Red Maids of Bristol. This was a school, a charity school for students, girls in particular, whose families could not give them full tuition for a major school, but they deemed were worthy of having a good liberal education. And they began very early on, and the girls all had to wear a very distinctive uniform, a straw bonnet, a cap, underneath that straw bonnet, a linen cape, a white apron with rows of tucking. Now, part of their learning experience, as you might imagine, in the mid-19th century was needlework skills, and I think that comes out very strongly in this apron. And then underneath all of this was their, guess what color? Red dress. The dolls in the mid-19th century seem to have been German wax heads with bead eyes and wax arms and legs. The body is made by the girls and is taken from the same pattern as so many of the English bag babies, as they were referred to, where the toes of the feet cross over in the front. A very sort of primitive pattern, but using very minimal amount of cloth. The headwear was a straw bonnet and a white cap and a white cape, which was either of cotton or linen, and a matching white apron. And obviously, this being a school where the girls were taught both academic subjects and handwork subjects, just look at the pin tucking on this apron. Obviously, the uniform of a Red Maid school is going to be a red dress. And this one is of wool. And as I pointed out in the presentation that I've done for you in this session on the American Civil War Sanitary Fair doll, you can see again that they did not press down the seam of the two edges of the skirt. They just left it as it was sewn. No pressing, just as it came. She's got undergarments, and we'll take a peek under her skirt a little later on. But one of the great Coleman finds, I think, was this wonderful image supported by voluntary contributions. And the dolls were part of what you could acquire with your voluntary contribution. But you open this screen door and you are greeted by one of the girls herself. And this image is a little bit earlier than the doll. This is probably late 1820s, early 1830s. And I think this is an amazing piece of handwork, creativity. Now, a number of doll collectors like to dress their dolls. And one of their go-to people is somebody that I was fortunate enough to call a very dear friend for many years until the big C took her away from all of us. And that was Janet Arnold. And Janet Arnold, when she was a girl, was a pupil at the Red Maid School. She lived in Bristol. I visited her family home. I spent time crawling on the floor working on a project, the only project I know where she failed to understand what I wanted, and that was a breakaway drawing of a Charles James dress. She was used to doing flat patterns. She was not used to looking at a garment three-dimensionally. And so when all was said and done, I could not use the project in my publication on the genius of Charles James. But Janet wrote to my sister about her association with the Red Maid and what she knew about the background of the school, and gave us information of how to further research the dolls of the Red Maid School in Bristol. Now, what doll is worth its salt if it doesn't have a handkerchief? A necessity for every person, male or female. And again, the needlework skills of the Red Maids of Bristol were spelt out in red on the handkerchiefs that seem always to have come with these dolls. I know of several others of these, and in practically every case, the handkerchief has come down with the doll. So it's quite amazing. And again, if you notice the quality of the cross stitch on that handkerchief, it's not rank amateur needlework. And so this school, which for many, many years was known for its attention to needlework skills, had the great student Janet Arnold as a pupil. Brings goosebumps to my skin. I don't know about yours, that the heritage is so wonderful and so remarkable. And I hope you've enjoyed this introduction. I probably think I can call it an introduction to the dolls that are dressed as Red Maids of Bristol, representing the school. So let's move on to another topic, and I'll see you later.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.